Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Fox 23 News. I'm Nicole Menner. It's week 8 of the college football season, and it's clear that there's a big disconnect going on at Mississippi State. The Bulldogs are 1-3 in SEC play, and the guy who we all had high expectations for is far from living up to them. Coach Moorhead opened up about Nick Fitzgerald's recent struggles.
You know, production kind of necessitates the lens in which you look at it, and you know, like it or not, the quarterback position is one that receives more credit than it deserves when you do well, and more blame than it deserves when you don't perform up to expectation level. So, we evaluate all the positions the same, but certainly I think we could all agree that the quarterback's a little bit different in scope. The disconnect, you would say? Yeah, disconnect. I think it probably goes along with the three things I just mentioned. They're getting all three of those things working at the same time: the protection, the routes, and the accuracy.
Obviously, you've continued to stick with Nick. Is he noticeably better than Keaton in practice? Is there a pretty big disparity there?
I wouldn't say big disparity, but better in practice, yes.
And in some other news, former Ole Miss and current Denver Broncos backup quarterback Chad Kelly was arrested earlier this morning on suspicion of criminal trespassing. A couple reported that Kelly came into their home uninvited and sat down on their couch, mumbling incoherently. The 24-year-old posted a $2,500 bond and was released earlier today. Kelly was supposedly at a Halloween party hosted by teammate Von Miller prior to the incident. He's made plenty of headlines before this. He was kicked off the Clemson Tigers team in 2014 after arguing with his coaches. He was arrested after a bar fight that same year and was involved in a brawl at his brother's high school football game in 2016 when he ran onto the field after his younger brother took a late hit during the game. Kelly is due back in court on Wednesday. The New Orleans Saints are set to acquire cornerback Eli Apple in a deal with the New York Giants. The Saints will send a 2019 fourth-round pick and an additional seventh-rounder the following year to New York in the deal. Apple, a first-round pick in 2016 out of Ohio State, has 23 tackles and a forced fumble this season. The move for the playoff-bound Saints is kind of a gamble considering Apple's struggles on and off the field in New York a year ago. Apple's sophomore season ended in a suspension after arguing with a coach and calling his teammate Landon Collins a cancer. Apple is still just 23 years old. Atlanta Braves pitcher Brandon McCarthy, who missed the second half of the season with a bad knee, can become a free agent if he chooses to continue his career. Major League Baseball and the Players Union have determined that the team has no club option for McCarthy in 2019. McCarthy went 6-3 with an ERA close to 5 in 15 games this year, but told MLB.com that he planned to retire back in August, but he has not yet filed the paperwork to do so. McCarthy had a clause in his contract that could have triggered a team option if he had been on the DL for a certain amount of time for a specific injury, which is something that he did not qualify for. All right, well, over the weekend, things got a little bit intense between former Pels guard Rajon Rondo, now on the Lakers, and Houston Rockets guard Chris Paul. The incident resulted in 3 suspensions for those two and Brandon Ingram. Rondo's suspension was the result of throwing punches and supposedly spitting at Paul, which he spoke about today. Rondo said this is the only time he would address the matter and said, quote, "I had a mouthpiece in my mouth and I was exasperated because I was about to tell him to get the insert expletive out of here," and added that there was no way he intentionally spit with the way his body language appeared. A little soon for these fights to be happening, right?
I know.
He spat on him.
I don't know.
There's video evidence of it.
It's hard to see the video, but of course he's going to deny it and say,
yeah, that's what he's supposed to do.
And
he's
then
not
of course
going to say,
calling,
yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
Was that the fight that there was a musician that was involved that was sitting on the bench? Did you see?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.